Moving on to the Daily Wire. For today, Sunday, July 5th, Kanye West announces he is running for president of the United States. Good for him. Redskins Cave announced thorough review of name. Here are the top suggestions. Oh, I'll bet some of those are funny. After years of pressure, the Washington Redskins have announced they will conduct a thorough review of the team name, as if they haven't already done that before. In the past week, activists have stepped up their pressure against the team. Mostly white activists, pretty sure. And politicians and sponsors have joined. Mostly white politicians and sponsors, pretty sure. On Thursday, Washington, D.C. officials said the team could not relocate within the city. They currently play at FedEx Field in Maryland unless they change their name and logo, the Daily Wire's Emily Zanotti reported. Washington, D.C. officials? I call on Redskins owner Dan Snyder once again to face that reality since he does still desperately want to be in the nation's capital, Holmes said, per Fox News. He has got a problem he can't get around, and he particularly can't get around it today after the George Floyd killing. Because a black guy getting accidentally killed by a negligent police officer has anything to do with the Redskins being offensive, supposedly, to Native Americans. DC's deputy mayor agreed there is no viable path, locally or federally, for the Washington football team to return to Washington, D.C. without first changing the team name. What the fuck? Then Nike, which has adhered to social justice demands in recent years and lost $790 million leading to layoffs, announced it would no longer sell Redskins gear on their website. Fuck you, Nike. In addition to Nike, FedEx and PepsiCo also announced they would end their business partnerships with the team unless it changed its name. Fuck you guys. On Friday, the team announced it would undergo a thorough review of its name, WTOP reported. Dan Snyder, who owns the team, has adamantly opposed the name change for years, but now says the review allows the team to take into account not only the proud tradition and history of the franchise, but also input from our alumni, the organization, sponsors, the National Football League, and the local community it is proud to represent on and off the field. Several name suggestions have been floating around social media over the past week, including the Washington Warriors, Washington Red Tails, and Washington Red Hawks. The Red Tails refer to the name of the Tuskegee Airmen, a group of all-black fighter pilots who operated during World War II. Some online have joked that since there are so many former Ohio State University players on the team, it should be named the Washington Buckeyes. Team quarterback Dwayne Haskins Jr., who attended OSU, said his favorite name suggestion so far was the Red Tails. His statement came in a Twitter response to Bleacher Report's Matt Miller, making the Buckeyes' suggestion. Haskins quote tweeted Miller and added, "I like the Red Tails." Haskins added, however, that he liked the name if we have to change the name, taking no position one way or the other on the issue. Sponsors, including Bank of America, Innova, PepsiCo, and FedEx, have all expressed support for the team's announcement to review its name. Oh, of course they have, because they're the fucking assholes telling them to do it. Trump issues executive order to rebuild non-Confederate monuments that have been torn down by protesters. That's good. Why just non-Confederate, though? I mean, nobody gave these protesters, I put that in quotes, nobody gave them permission to tear down any statues. They are destroying and vandalizing. It should be put back the way that it was. South Dakota governor, founding ideals cannot be dismissed as the irrelevant opinions of flawed men. Okay, good. They certainly are not irrelevant opinions. Toto? T-O-T-O? Shouldn't Hamilton get canceled next? Because it's so patriotic. God, I can't stand his face. Heat and eat meals ready in minutes. Freshly. There's some ads. As I said, good for Kanye West. I don't know if anybody would vote, well, I don't know if many people would vote for him. I don't know. I don't trust him. I didn't vote for Trump the first time because I didn't trust him. I definitely don't trust Kanye West. I know he said things, but that doesn't mean that he's smart. I don't trust that he's smart enough to be president. But maybe I'm wrong. And now we have the Daily Shapiro from last night. Trump issues executive order. We already just read that. Hillary Clinton says she would beat Trump if she were on 2020 ballot. You wish, lady. You already lost to him. Why are you saying anything? God, she's insufferable. Trump at Mount Rushmore. Left-wing cultural revolution is designed to overthrow the American Revolution. Yeah, that sounds about right. Media outlets describe Trump's Rushmore speech as dark and divisive, and I think we're about to see a headline just like that from, where else? Yahoo News. South Dakota governor, yes, just read that. So do I want to click on either one of these Rushmore things? We'll see here to see what he actually said. And then we'll see what's being said about what he actually said. President Donald Trump traveled to Mount Rushmore on Friday to give an Independence Day speech ahead of the 4th of July weekend. During the speech, he praised the founding principles of the United States and the enduring spirit of the American people. I can't say that there is much of that enduring spirit. At least no sort of enduring spirit to be proud of. Not that I can see. I guess maybe it's out there somewhere, hiding under a rock, not having anybody pay attention to it. Trump challenged the left-wing totalitarian impulse threatening schools, corporate boardrooms, newsrooms, and the American way of life itself. There is a new far-left fascism that demands absolute allegiance. How new is it? If you do not speak its language, perform its rituals, recite its mantras, and follow its commandments, then you will be censored, banished, blacklisted, persecuted, and punished, said Trump. I wouldn't say it's new. It's grown up now. It's been being nurtured in colleges across the country for decades, and it's full grown now. Make no mistake, this left-wing cultural revolution is designed to overthrow the American Revolution, said Trump, who remarked that radicals were determined to tear down every statue, symbol, and memory of our national heritage to get the job done. Yeah, they're demonstrating that. That's definitely true. During the speech, Trump also offered an unapologetic defense of the presidents carved into Mount Rushmore, describing them as American giants whose deeds unleashed the greatest leap in human advancement the world has ever known. Good wording. Each of the 4 presidents on Mount Rushmore represents a different era of accomplishment in American history. Washington symbolizes the nation's founding. Jefferson represents American growth. Lincoln symbolizes preservation, and Theodore Roosevelt represents development. Later in the speech, the president returned to his observations about American values and the need for them to prevail. We want free and open debate, not speech codes and cancel culture. We embrace tolerance, not prejudice, said Trump. Yeah, when one side is afraid to debate, then they're obviously going to be calling for no debate, for the canceling of the people that say anything opposing them, because they're just afraid to debate. Said Trump, also commenting that those seeking to erase our shared heritage don't want to better America, but to end America. My fellow Americans, it is time to speak up loudly and strongly and powerfully and defend the integrity of our country, said Trump. This is true. On Friday evening, the Trump administration said it would establish a task force dedicated to creating a national garden that would contain statues of great Americans who made substantive contributions to America's public life or otherwise had a substantive effect on America's history. The National Garden will include lifelike statues of John Adams, Susan B. Anthony, Clara Barton, Daniel Boone, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, Henry Clay, Davy Crockett, Frederick Douglass, Amelia Earhart, Benjamin Franklin, Billy Graham, Alexander Hamilton, Thomas Jefferson, Martin Luther King Jr., Abraham Lincoln, Douglas MacArthur, Dolly Madison, James Madison, Kristen McAuliffe, Audie Murphy, George S. Patton Jr., Ronald Reagan, Jackie Robinson, Betsy Ross, Antonin Scalia, Harriet Beecher Stowe, Harriet Tubman, Booker T. Washington, George Washington, and Orville and Wilbur Wright. Sweet. The executive order also describes other examples of permissible statues, including the Founding Fathers, those who fought for the abolition of slavery or participated in the Underground Railroad, heroes of the United States Armed Forces, recipients of the Congressional Medal of Honor or Presidential Medal of Freedom, scientists and inventors, entrepreneurs, civil rights leaders, missionaries and religious leaders, pioneers and explorers, police officers and firefighters killed or injured in the line of duty, labor leaders, advocates for the poor and disadvantaged, opponents of National Socialism or International Socialism, former presidents of the United States and other elected officials, judges and justices, astronauts, authors, intellectuals, artists, and teachers. None will have lived perfect lives, but all will be worth honoring, remembering, and studying. Well, with that stipulation and understanding that none have lived perfect lives, but all will be worth honoring, remembering, and studying, I'm sure you could find, at least a couple of Confederate soldiers who fit the bill, such as, General Lee. It's been understood for quite some time until the last few years that he is worth remembering because he was a good general, even though he lost, even though he was fighting for the wrong side. Anyway, back we go. Okay. Excuse me.